The Last Clue is a production of Smith Media Team, LLC. If you have any information about a case, please email us at info@smithmediateamllc.com. Listener discretion is advised.
We had a sad death this past weekend. Somebody that has brought us a lot of joy has been wrapped in a little bit of political controversy. We're not going to get into that.
We do not get into that.
Rob Reiner, famous Hollywood director, actor, and his also famous wife, Michele, were allegedly murdered in their home in Brentwood, and this story has been everywhere.
It has, and I hate to use the word sensational, but that's kind of what it is. There's been all the buzz about how it happened, why it happened, and especially where it happened. Sorry, a lot of times you say Brentwood, and that already sends a trigger out to many people.
And we're going to get into that, but a couple of things to get to first. We have breaking news. We got out of our home this past Sunday. As a matter of fact, the same day that the news came out about Rob Reiner and his wife. Would you like to tell them what we did?
Well, when the news broke, we were sitting in the balcony of the Tower Theater in Oklahoma City.
Sure.
Getting out of the house for... It's a rarity, guys, that we go out and do something for ourselves.
We did not have a police escort either.
We did not.
Well,
either way, home or
one that we know of.
Yeah, one we paid attention to.
Not get crazy.
We, even as old folks, we went to a concert.
Rock on.
Yeah, we didn't go see your standard like Barry Manilow or Taylor Swift or anything like that. I like Barry Manilow anyway, but we went to see
at the Copacabana. That was Barry Manilow.
That
right?
was Barry Manilow.
Thank you.
We went to see If Not For Me.
Yes.
Yes.
No, we did not see Yes.
No, we did not. If Not For Me, Nevertel, Rain City Drive.
And Rain City Drive we were really excited about because we had wanted to see them for quite some time.
Yes, I love their music.
Yeah, Rain City Drive put on a really good show. If they come to your area, I would highly recommend taking in that show.
And the one I was most excited about, kind of bucket list for me. Was it bucket list for you?
Oh, I really do.
Yes.
I've been a great proponent of this band.
Fresh off of their gig on Van's Warped Tour, Memphis May Fire.
I think I crave chaotic. Yeah, definitely
Yes.
Check out Chaotic. This is the old me?
Yeah.
It's called Old Me.
Old Me.
Yeah.
The Old Me. Yeah, this is
The Old Me.
Anyway, love Memphis May Fire. Love Rain City Drive. Nevertel was great.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not even going to lie, so was If Not For Me. I mean, it was a great lineup. Y'all kind of sleep on, that's just a general term. I'm from the South. Sleep on some of these opening bands. And just like us in our podcast, you got to start somewhere.
I can remember a time, and this was way before they were popular, but we were hosting an outdoor festival. And this outdoor festival, it was all hands on deck. Everybody that worked for the company worked this outdoor festival. And this is talking, you get there at 10 o'clock in the morning, gates open at 11:30, you're balls to the wall for 10, 12 hours, whatever. You're tired at the end of the night. You're slinging beer, you're slinging water. And the headliner of this show insisted on having this up-and-coming band on the small stage inside the club. This is an all outdoor festival, but next door was the club, and they wanted to have this band on the inside. And we all go in to have a beverage, and we're dirty, sweaty. We've got soaking wet money in our pockets from slinging beer, etc. And this band fires up. And I'm telling you, as I'm sitting here, there was 20 to 25 of us, and we're in a terrible mood. We've dealt with drunks all day and everything. And we're just like, can somebody shut this band off? Can somebody go pull the plug? If you pull the plug, I'll buy you a shot. Just turn them off. That band was the band Perry, and they turned out to be as big or bigger than anybody that was playing that outdoor festival at the time. I'm not a huge fan of their music, but it was the band Perry on a stage that is smaller than the podcast studio we are sitting in right now.
Wow. Okay.
And we were telling them to shut the F up.
Okay. Well, speaking of bands, first of all, we're in the holiday season. So happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, whatever you're celebrating. We want to say happy holidays to you. Special shout out to...
Can I say one thing real quick? I'm sorry. You said holidays. Folks, if you listen to this podcast and you think it's glamorous and insightful and intelligent and everything, first of all, I certainly appreciate that. I would also like to tell you that I run off of a Microsoft 98 processor. So a lot of times when she says something to me, it's not that I'm trying not to answer her. It's that my brain is trying to catch up with what she said so that I can form some type of intelligent sentence or answer or rebuttal, which is rarely the case. But I'm getting slower in my age.
I'm older and I just sit here, smile and nod and wait for him to finish.
Wow. That's a different podcast. But
Sorry.
Anyway, I want to share just a tad bit of Christmas joy with you. If you have a pen and pencil, if you're on your phone, open up your notes, whatever it is. My mother used to listen to KXY 96.1, I believe, out of Oklahoma City. And there was a song that they played every holiday season. There was also a morning show called Dave and Dan. And Dave and Dan ruled the airwaves, 80s, 90s, probably further along than that. But there was a song that Dave and Dan played during the holidays, and it was called Blue Christmas. Now, the title Blue Christmas is not unheard of at all. Everybody's heard it. Elvis, many others have done Blue Christmas. This was Blue Christmas by Seymour, Swine. And if you have never heard this song, I want to tell you a couple of things. One, it's hilarious because obviously Seymour Swine is a takeoff on Porky Pig. The second thing is that this is not really recorded in any kind of studio or anything else. So the funniest part of the song is not the person impersonating Porky Pig singing Blue Christmas. It is the person in the background. If you have not heard this song, we do not have the rights to be able to play this for you. I would love to, but if you would like to get in a giggly, happy Christmas mood, please go to iTunes, go to Spotify. First of all, go there and, follow The Last Clue, our true crime podcast, where we are now talking about music sung by fictional pigs. But we would love a follow. We would love a share. We'd love a review. If you like the podcast, please review us. But go to your musical weapon of choice and look up Blue Christmas by Seymour Swine and make sure that you have the sound up loud enough to be able to hear the person in the background, because my mother, listening to that song, was convinced for the longest time that was Dave and Dan that had performed that song. And it was 20 years later that I found out that was not the case at all. Blue Christmas by Seymour Swine. Back to your holiday enjoyment.
I forgot what I was saying.
You were telling us Merry Christmas, and you were also about to tell us about the Christmas card swap.
Oh, yeah.
That we participated in.
Sorry.
I know.
I took a nap.
Yeah, you should have.
I did. But we did get into a Christmas card exchange. And speaking of music, I want to give a special shout out. We want to give a special shout out to the band Any Given Sin. And if you have not heard their music, I highly encourage it. They even have a great Christmas song called Nothing for Christmas. So I want to say thank you to the band Any Given Sin for participating and including us in the Christmas card exchange. And their entire fan page, fan base, The Sinners. Y'all literally rock.
We have so many Christmas cards for The Last Clue that came from the Sinners group. We did a Christmas card exchange where we sent stickers from The Last Clue to a lot of the Sinners, and they sent Christmas cards back in exchange. We have tons of Christmas cards in the house. You have added to our holiday joy. Thank you to Any Given Sin and the Sinners group that you can find on Facebook.
And we're just going to give a quick thank you before we dive into the podcast meat and potatoes. Thank you, huge thank you to Nobody Special Finance.
Go find that right now.
Right now on YouTube. Right now.
Well, not right now. Please wait until our podcast is over. But go make a note. Go find the Nobody Special Finance podcast on YouTube. They have a huge story coming out of a small town in Oklahoma, and it has so many webs and branches, and they all potentially link back to someone who became famous during the COVID era on Netflix. If that doesn't entice you just a little bit, but if you like business and you like true crime and you like everything in between, go check out Nobody Special Finance on YouTube.
We also want to thank Page 6 Oklahoma. They have been absolutely great. They've got a lot of great content, some wonderful posts, very informative, very engaging. So Page 6 Oklahoma, thank you. Of course, our bestie over at No Hard Feelings, kind podcast, and a new podcast friend, bear with us, Prison Pen Pals podcast.
Okay. So they actually advertised with us, and this was fantastic. We took the deep dive on Prison Pen Pal podcast with Big Steve, and this is fascinating. As a matter of fact, Big Steve, I hope you're listening, because there is a true crime story that I have always wanted to delve into, and one of the three main players, at least one of the three main players, as I'm again working with my Microsoft 98 processor, one of the three main players is still alive. And if you wanted to take that dive, I would be in full support. So Big Steve, if you're out there, email us at info@smithmediateamllc.com. I have a suggestion for you for the Prison Pen Pal podcast.
And I think it's time to get into what we know thus far about the murders of Rob Reiner and his wife, Michele.
This is a truly tragic story to me, because I won't tell you that I was a huge fan of All in the Family. I wasn't at that age yet to be able to appreciate.
Neither was I. I'm slightly older than you, but I too was not really at that age.
I will tell you that Stand By Me was a kind of a life-changing movie for me. It made me look at things.
I'm a huge Stephen King
way.
Fan, so
yeah. It made it kind of in the way that there's a couple other movies in my life that made me look at things a different way. Dead Poet Society was one of them, but Stand By Me was kind of the original when I was young that made me look at things in a different light.
Yes, I mean, he has a catalog that is just astronomical. I mean, this is Spinal Tap, When Harry Met Sally, Misery.
Okay, Kathy Bates is terrifying.
Kathy Bates is amazing.
But in Misery, with the sledgehammer, you don't even, if you haven't even seen Misery,
you know that scene
with James Caan in the bed and Kathy Bates.
Just like the scene of When Harry Met Sally. So.
You don't have to have seen the movie.
You don't.
They're iconic scenes.
And Rob Reiner was just an iconic director, producer, writer. I mean, he literally was. And before he was married to Michele Singer, he was actually married to Penny Marshall from Laverne and Shirley fame for 10 years. And actually, did he not meet Michele after so he was married to Penny from like 71 to 81. They were married for 10 years. He adopted her daughter. But I believe he met Michele after he and Penny divorced. I don't know why words are so
Thank
hard.
God.
I don't know. I talk so fast.
No, I was saying thank God that he met Michele after he divorced Penny.
I know you were. And him and Michele met on the set of When Harry Met Sally.
They did. And she even had some input into the ending of When Harry Met Sally because they had a totally different direction that they were going in. And the ending was changed to the movie partly because of her. You can read more about that on the internet, but that is actually, I've ran that through Snopes. That is factually correct.
Well, that's pretty cool. But in all the sadness, let's discuss what we know. So Rob and Michele were found in their home on the night of December 14th. They were apparently stabbed to death and allegedly had their throats slit, found by their youngest child, Romy.
Having their throat slit is a very personal. And you're going to hear this a lot. If you've ever listened to The Last Clue for more than 1 or 2 episodes, there are 3 reasons for murder. It's love or sex, which I don't think has anything to do with this one, revenge, anger, or money. And I think the latter, both of those two, have come into play here.
I believe you're right. Now, Rob and Michele had 3 children, Jake, Nick, and Romy. And again, Romy is who found them. And from what I understand, she found them after they had not answered any calls regarding an appointment that they had for a massage that afternoon. So she went over to check on them, and that is when she found their bodies. She spoke with the police when she called 911 and said that Nick would be a person of interest, a suspect, and that he was, quote, dangerous.
And Nick had a history of not only substance abuse, but homelessness. It's been well documented on podcasts, on TV. You know, it's sad to look at the entire scope, but there had been an argument at a Christmas party earlier or in a get-together at Conan O'Brien's house where they were visibly arguing, Nick and Rob. So, you know, it just goes to show you can try to get away from the substances and vices that hold you down, but it's always there. It's always there. And sometimes, you know, this phrase gets used so much, and I can't believe I'm about to say this, but your demons haunt you.
They do. Well, especially after his first trip to rehab was when he was just 15 years old. So, I mean, that's a long history. And then from what I understand, he had 17 additional stays in rehab after that first one when he was 15.
And I know there was also a podcast back several years ago, maybe 2018, that Nick had destroyed a family guest house while he was, quote, spun out on uppers. Oof. And, you know, Nick had also confirmed to the host of Dopey, David Mannheim, that he was sequestered in the residence, you know, for what he said for days on end. And it's not like solitary confinement, but when you're stuck in a place for days on end, your mind wanders. You start thinking about the things that got you there in the first place. Some people use that as a positive spin. Others tragically don't.
Yeah, well, and then you throw in the substance abuse on top of that, and you just kind of you go nuts. You lose it. You literally lose it. And that's what he did to the guest house he was in at that time. And he had destroyed the TV and the lamp, and then it just kind of progressed into just where the entire guest house got wrecked. Now, I don't know if that's the same guest house he was living in back then as it was currently, because that's what I understand is he was living in the guest house on Rob and Michelle's premises. So he was still basically living at home with mom and dad.
And again, there's a lot of unsubstantiated rumors out there about this story. I know you had told me, you had mentioned a few of them. We want to try to stay as factual as we can about this because this is already a heartbreaking story.
It is.
And, I don't know if Nick's going to be able to get the help that he needs. I mean, this is a violent
very
act on two people that raised you and cared about you and
brought you into this world, put you through rehab 18 times or more.
And, Michelle was already stressed about this, and she said that she and Rob were at their wits' end over Nick and his mental illness and his substance abuse issues. They were at the end.
That's a rough ride on a parent. I don't care how much money you've got, clout, anything. That is a rough ride on the parent. But a source close to the family is saying that he was just a ticking time bomb. And I guess it kind of just really blew up at the Christmas party at Conan's house. And there are some insiders saying that he was acting really strange at the Christmas party. He was making people uncomfortable. He was asking people, just kind of going up to people and asking if they were famous.
And I want to take a break here, not necessarily take a break, but just know that if you're ever in a situation that you don't feel like you can handle, if you feel like you're at the end, if you feel like that you're going to do something to yourself or someone else, know, and you've heard this ad nauseum, but please know there is help out there. Please call 988, call the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. If it's that bad, at least try talking to someone. Call 988. If it's a situation where you don't feel like you can call 988, please call 911. Please have someone check on you. Please have someone talk to you.
Please ask for help.
You're not alone. And I can't stress that enough. I don't think I've ever said this on this show. Maybe I have. But on my right wrist, I have the semicolon tattoo. I am a suicide survivor, and my family has also dealt with suicide. Luckily, no one was brutally harmed and no one ended their life, but we have dealt with suicide in our family, and I have dealt with it personally. Just please know that there is help out there. Please write down 988 and carry it around with you. If you need it, I'm sure they will send you stickers and magnets and everything else that you can have in your home. But just know that there is help out there.
Always. You are never alone. This is just so difficult to talk about. But that argument at Conan's where Nick was making everybody uncomfortable and kept asking people if they were famous, there was also a source that said that they heard that argument between Nick and Rob, and it was allegedly due to or about Nick refusing to go back to rehab after they believed he had started using again. That's got to be a tough pill to swallow.
And not only that, but it's the snowball effect here. It's the snowball effect of this that just breaks my heart, because you're in this vicious cycle. Mm-hmm. Your parents, you want to help your child. You want to see them do the best that they possibly can. But at some point, you have to, you're at the end. You still want the best for them. You still love them unconditionally.
But you're your parents.
They make a choice that brings you to an ultimatum where now you have to stand on your own 2 feet.
I mean, he's 32 years old, so
It's kind of what you always tell me: play stupid games, win stupid prizes. And unfortunately, that's what has happened here. They have given chance after chance after chance, opportunity after opportunity. And they got to the point where it sounds to me like it was basically an ultimatum of, you get clean, you get off drugs, you do the right thing, or you get out of our house.
Yep.
You are 32 years old. It doesn't matter if you're 18 or 80. You're an adult.
Yes.
We have stood by you.
They've done everything they possibly could.
Done right by you. We may not have always been right, but we tried to do the best and tried to do the right thing for you throughout your entire life. This was it. They've reached their breaking point.
And probably took away time from their other children to focus all this energy on helping Nick. And then this is how it ends?
And that's what I mean by the snowball effect. So now you have the situation where there was an ultimatum. Now you have Nick, who makes the brutal and unfathomable decision to allegedly kill his own parents.
In the most brutal way.
And you have your brothers and sisters that you've now forced to make a choice. So now they've been involved where they shouldn't be involved. This should have been a fight between the parents and the child.
And now Romy is scarred for the rest of her life. I can't imagine what she's going through, having walk in on that and knowing, allegedly, that it's your own brother.
And I told you in no uncertain terms, when this information first started coming out, I told you that I'll bet the oldest sister says, no, he made an adult decision. He can deal with this on his own. And I still think that. I haven't caught up on the most recent gossip or most recent news or whatever, but I truly believe that the oldest sister, if she hasn't already, because we do record our podcast, so it could have happened in real time.
Are you speaking of Robin Penny's daughter?
Yes.
Tracy, okay.
I believe that she will say, you made a decision, a selfish decision.
For the rest of the family.
To take 2 loving, caring, kind people who would have done anything for us. You decided to take them away. You stand on your own. We'll support you from a distance.
Maybe.
We'll love you unconditionally. But this is now your fight.
Yeah. So you think she might be saying, not my circus, not my monkey.
I have to believe that would be the case. I've made some poor choices in my life.
Same.
But never did I even for 1 second think about harming my parents.
No.
In any way, much less what Nick is accused of doing.
Yeah. I mean, again, that is a very brutal, very personal mode.
That's pure anger. That is pure anger. And if you go back to it, it's like one of my good friends always says, follow the money. That is pure anger stimulated by money. Because
he probably wanted money for more drugs, more prostitutes, which he allegedly was also fond of and had used in the past, used money from mom and dad for not only the drugs, but the prostitutes.
And you hear these stories from time to time, especially, on the socials and everything else, about someone asking for money on the street. And the person that they ask says, I'll buy you a meal. Some take them up on that. They say, hey, if you'll buy me a meal, I'll take it. I'll take what I can get. there are others that say, I don't want a meal, I want money.
Yep.
And in a strange sort of way, that's what this story is. The parents are saying, hey, we will get you help. We will get you off drugs. We want you to live a clean lifestyle. And Nick, at that moment, and I know this has been building, I'm simplifying this story, but at that moment, he had two roads to go down. He could do what his parents said and get clean, get off drugs, or he could not do that and be evicted from the place he was living and be homeless for the umpteenth time.
Well, and now he's made a quick, temporary decision for a permanent outcome and consequence. So being fueled by that anger has not only cost his parents their lives, but potentially his too.
I don't know, with the admiration in Hollywood and all over the world for these two people, I don't know if he'll see the end of trial. And I hope that's not the case. I hope someone doesn't take it into their own hands to try to get to this person.
Yeah, we don't need vigilante justice.
We don't. But
we need answers, though.
You are talking about...
We being the family.
Right. I mean, you are talking about two people that were loved and adored. There's celebrities coming out
by
and saying,
millions,
saying, you know, we had just had dinner with them, or we had plans with them next week.
They were just at Conan O'Brien's house. That's where this all started. So, and I mean, I know he's very close to Billy Crystal and so many of the stars and co-stars and everything. Now we know there are people that didn't particularly care for him because of his political activism and so on. But again, we are not getting into that. We're sticking with what we know this far. And what we know is that a child has allegedly slit the throats of his parents who have done everything for him. But Nick was arrested, though, finally, after, I think it was about 4 or 5 hours after Romy found the bodies of her parents and called the police, and he was arrested near USC, I believe.
Yeah. Near campus.
Ew.
He's being held, it was held at the Twin Towers Correctional Facility. Of course, no bond. That's not a shock at all. He is on suicide watch, which I can understand to a point. I mean, they have to put him on suicide watch, but...
Yeah, well, with his mental state, mental illness, mental condition, I'm sure it's fairly common in this situation. And I think they are waiting for him to be medically cleared in that aspect before he is arraigned. And speaking of arraignment, he has retained
a famous attorney.
A famous attorney that represented Phil Spector and Kevin Spacey, just to name two.
And just recently, Karen Reed.
Yes. That attorney, I'm gonna give you just a minute.
Lord.
Alan Jackson.
And how ironic that he retains the services of a country music legend whose third hit single was called Wanted. I mean, depending on what happens.
I had to cue up the Alan Jackson jokes.
Nick may be going down to the Chattahoochee. Definitely won't enjoy it, but I
bet you it gets hotter than a hoochie coochie.
I have to wonder how Alan Jackson got involved in this, all jokes aside. I don't know if this is more of a publicity stunt or if he has been, I would be shocked if he was hired by the family.
I would too. And I think he did Karen Reed's defense pro bono, didn't he?
I don't know
the
answer to that.
But anyway, I would find it hard. I'm with you. I would find it hard to believe that the family actually retained Alan Jackson for Nick, but that too shall come, and we are waiting for more information just like y'all are.
And talk about a guy that has to defend people that are polarizing, because you're going to have both sides of it. When you can throw a nickel in any direction and you're going to get differing opinions of Karen Reed. There are people that think that she is a cold-blooded murderer. There are people that think that she was not guilty of anything, and everything in between. And now you're going to have this story, unfortunately. You are going to have supporters that believe that Nick can be rehabilitated. I'm not saying he can't. I'm saying that you are going to have supporters that think that Nick should spend the rest of his life in a mental health facility, a drug-free environment. And then you're going to have others, like we mentioned earlier, that we hope don't take justice upon themselves. But that is my concern at this point. My concern is that someone will get to him before he ever has the chance to stand trial, because of the manner that this happened, the way it happened.
Yeah, very violent, very personal. But we are going to have to wait and see what happens. And we should probably look into doing that. Lord knows what's happened since we've been here bringing you this broadcast, this episode. Besides Alan Jackson.
The Last Clue is a production of Smith Media Team, LLC. If you have any information about a case, please email us at info@smithmediateamllc.com. Subscribe on Buzzsprout to get bonus episodes in the regular feed and possibly a shout out in an upcoming episode. And you can also follow and review The Last Clue on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, YouTube, iHeartRadio, or wherever you listen. And as always, keep searching for The Last Clue.